If you're on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or you're a senior living on a fixed income, this update is something you'll want to hear because a small group of people will actually receive 3 checks in December 2025. And in a month when everything costs more, gifts, heat, groceries, gas, that extra payment can make a real difference in how you get through the holidays. A lot of people don't realize this happens, and it's not a bonus or anything extra from the government, but it is a real shift in timing that puts more money into your hands before the year ends. I've gone through the SSA's payment schedule and the rules for how they adjust payments when holidays land on certain days, and it can get confusing fast. So let's break this down in plain, everyday language without the jargon, so you don't have to dig through the government charts yourself. Think of someone like Marlene, a 72-year-old living alone on SSI and a small Social Security check. December is always tough for her. Higher electric bills, holiday meals, maybe a small gift for her grandkids. Her budget doesn't stretch the way she wishes it could. So when she hears talk about 3 checks in December, she wants to know if that includes her, and she wants to understand exactly when her money will actually land in her account. That's the kind of clarity we're going to walk through here, step by step. We're going to talk about why this payment shift happens, who it affects, how birth dates and older payment rules factor in, and why SSI ends up being the group that sees 2 payments in the same month. We'll also look at what this means for people on retirement benefits, those on SSDI, and anyone who gets SSI on top of another benefit. Plus, I'll tell you what date each payment should arrive and what to check for when that early SSI payment hits your account, especially because the 2026 COLA kicks in with that December 31st deposit. For retirees who get their checks based on their birthday, nothing changes. You'll still get your payment on your regular Wednesday. But if you're on SSI, or if you've been getting Social Security since before 1997, your schedule works differently. SSI normally pays on the 1st of every month, but when the 1st falls on a holiday and January 1st is always a federal holiday, the SSA sends the payment the business day before. That's what creates the situation in December 2025 where you receive your regular December 1st SSI payment and then your January 2026 payment on December 31st. This isn't extra money, but for many people juggling bills at the end of the year, timing matters just as much as the amount. And because the SSA applies the new 2026 COLA to that early payment, the check you get on December 31st will be slightly bigger than the one you received on December 1st. For someone on SSI who receives, for example, around $943 a month in 2025, a 2.8% COLA would bump the payment by roughly $26, giving you a little more breathing room heading into the new year. If you're on SSDI, retirement, spousal, or survivor benefits and your payment is tied to your birth date, your checks stay on the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th Wednesday as usual. So you won't get 3 checks because those benefits don't shift for holidays unless the scheduled Wednesday itself is a federal holiday. But if you're someone who gets SSI and Social Security together, then yes, you'll see 2 SSI payments in the same month, plus your normal Social Security payment on your assigned Wednesday. That's where the 3 checks applies. Even though direct deposit and prepaid debit cards are usually reliable, it's still smart to check your bank account within a day or 2 of each scheduled date. End-of-year processing can slow things down slightly, and if your deposit doesn't show up, you'll want to contact the SSA so they can look into it before the holiday closures. And for that December 31st deposit, pay close attention to the amount. That one should reflect your new 2026 COLA, so if the number looks off, it's worth checking your benefits notice or calling the SSA to verify that everything was calculated correctly. Sometimes these timing shifts can feel almost too good to be true, especially when every dollar matters. But it's important to remember that while you are seeing 2 SSI payments in December, it simply means you won't receive an SSI payment in January until February 1st. The money evens out over the year. Still, getting that early deposit at the end of December can help you cover winter bills, refill medications, buy groceries, or handle those little emergencies that always seem to pop up when money is tight. For many people, just having that payment a day earlier can mean avoiding late fees or going into the new year with a little less stress. If you're someone who relies on both Social Security and SSI, keep in mind that the SSA treats these programs separately. Your Social Security payment will show up on its usual Wednesday, tied to your birthday or the older payment schedule if you've been receiving benefits since before 1997. That means December could look like this for you: your regular December 1st SSI payment, your usual Social Security payment on your assigned Wednesday, and then the early January SSI payment on December 31st. It's a rare month where everything seems to land all at once, but knowing the exact dates helps you plan and avoid surprises. This timing shift can give you a little space to breathe. Think of a senior who's been rationing heat because the utility bill went up again, or a veteran trying to stretch their disability payment to cover both rent and groceries. That early payment at the end of December might be what allows them to catch up, restock the fridge, or head into January without immediately falling behind. Someone else might use it to pay for a prescription before the new year deductible resets. The point isn't that it fixes everything, it doesn't, but it can make the difference between feeling panicked and feeling prepared. The only challenge to watch for is that because you're being paid early, you need to mentally plan for a longer stretch between that December 31st payment and your next one on February 1st. Budgeting ahead becomes really important here. It's easy to forget that the January payment has technically already arrived. If possible, set aside just a small portion so the gap doesn't catch you off guard. Even $10 or $20 saved can help smooth out that long stretch. Another thing you can do is double-check your direct deposit information in your online SSA account if you have one. If you don't use online tools, you can call or visit your local office, though lines may be longer around the holidays. Make sure your bank account is active, especially if you've recently changed banks or cards. For people using the Direct Express card, most deposits still show up smoothly, but checking your balance is always a good idea. And if you don't see your payment after a couple of business days, reaching out to the SSA early prevents bigger headaches later. For anyone who gets both Social Security and SSI, the COLA increase applied to that December 31st payment is automatic. You don't have to file anything or update anything. The SSA sends out letters around the end of the year explaining your new benefit amount, so make sure you've opened that mail or checked your online message center. It's a good habit to compare your notice to the actual deposit so you feel confident everything is correct. At the end of the day, these small shifts in payment timing don't fix the reality that many people are still struggling to keep up with rising rent, food, and medical costs. But you're not alone in that. Millions of seniors, people with disabilities, veterans, caregivers, and families are navigating the same challenges, and staying informed helps you make the most of what you're entitled to. There is absolutely no shame in relying on these programs. You paid into the system, and you deserve stability and support. If you want to stay ahead of changes to Social Security, SSI, SSDI, VA benefits, SNAP, or future relief programs, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an update that could affect your wallet. And if you know someone else who relies on benefits, share this information with them. A simple update like this can make someone's month a little easier, and we all need that sometimes.